our very first story, a total of 45 LPG filling stations have been shut down in the last 2 weeks in an ongoing exercise by the National Petroleum Authority to ensure strict compliance with safety standards. Another 37 of the outlets found to fail the safety standards are expected to be closed in the coming days. NPA Chief Executive Alhassan Tampuli disclosed this at the launch of the National Safety Campaign here in Accra. Matilda Wemegam was there for Joy News.
The ongoing clampdown is largely driven by the recent gas explosion at Atomic Junction at Medina, which claimed 7 lives. Preliminary investigations point to failure by managers of the outlet to comply with the safety protocols. The NPA chief executive says of the 636 gas filling stations, only 141 are deemed to be fully compliant.
276 LPG refill stations have been inspected out of the 636 distributed across the country. 45 outlets remain closed due to non-compliance with some regulatory and technical requirements. 37 outlets have been marked for closure when the level of their stocks reduced to levels within the safety zone. 26 outlets have been reopened after a comprehensive inspection was carried out by the inspections and monitoring units of the authority.
The National Safety Campaign forms part of efforts to prevent accidents involving liquefied petroleum gas. The NPA believes vigorous and sustained public education is vital to address safety lapses.
The NPA has intensified its monitoring and inspection activities in collaboration with other agencies, including the Ghana Fire Service, Environmental Protection Agency, Factories Inspectorate Department, and the Town and Country Department.
There have been growing agitations about the siting of fuel stations in residential areas, with some community members in some neighborhoods demanding their closure. But Deputy Minister for Energy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, wants the NPA and the relevant MMDAs to be cautious in dealing with the matter, explaining that it will be unfair to ask such stations to relocate in cases where they were established before the area became built up.
Sometimes these installations are already there before we build our structures near them. And so in most cases, the consuming public and other users of land often disregard safety warnings and operate near petroleum installations or building structures close to such installations. They then turn around to request the NPA to close down such installations. This is not acceptable. To this end, I wish to call on the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority and the Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Assemblies who plan our cities and issue building permits to people to take cognizance of this imperative and ensure that the safety of people in their jurisdictions become their utmost responsibility.
The NPA box explained there's currently an ongoing discussion with stakeholders on how to deal with these concerns and whether the stations will have to go or some houses in the vicinity will have to be demolished.
Well, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge because now if you look at some of the existing stations, some of them have been there 20 years, over 20 years, 10 years, way before the residential accommodation scheme close to them. So we have to make a decision whether or not the people who just recently came should evacuate or those who have already been there should evacuate. That will be part of the remit of the risk assessors. And we're working very closely even before now. We call it the multi-stakeholder committee at the NPA, which consists of the Fire Service, EPA, Town and Country Planning, Ministry of Energy, Factories Inspectorate Department, and then the Ghana Standards Authority is also coming on board.
The NPA says it is also retraining all LPG tanker drivers and their mates and all others involved in the distribution of the product so they become fully aware of what is expected of them.
Well, staying with the energy sector, the hopes of more than 1,000 ECG workers were on Tuesday dashed as an Accra High Court turned down their request for the ongoing implementation of the private sector participation in management of the company be put on hold. The aggrieved workers last month demanded payment of redundancy packages, insisting they will become workers of a private company once the Millennium Challenge Compact is implemented. Government, in clear terms, turned down their request, forcing the workers to attempt to block the process through the courts. But that was shot down on Tuesday as the application for interlocutory injunction was dismissed, with the court stating that granting their request will lead to government suffering serious hardship. The substantive case on whether the workers deserve the package, however, remains before the court. Now, government is considering the abrogation of the controversial $510 million Ameripower deal, with the Energy Ministry considering a wide range of options available to it. According to the Minister, Boakye Ejiako, the deal in its current form is not in the best interest of the country, and as such should be terminated to enable the country to save huge sums of money. Appearing before the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, which is holding a public hearing on the Ameri rescission motion filed by Dansi Asukwa MP Katie Hammond, Mr. Ejiako adduced evidence to back his claims, saying the state was better off without the deal.
Both parties can consent to set aside the agreement for renegotiation. That's an option. We could push the case for an annulment based on the establishment of fraud, malfeasance, or any such untoward behavior for an annulment. Or we could push for an abrogation that would incur some liabilities. We are examining all of them in terms of financial impact. It may well be that given the situation as we find it, we may be better off abrogating than letting it run. We will run the numbers and make a financial decision based on that. The corollary example I give is that when we review the PPAs, the power purchase agreements, we found out that, for example, if we abrogate the pool that we intend to, the cost may be about $580 million. But if we leave them to run as is, per annum, the cost of capacity charge for treating this as business as usual is $680 million for 13 years. So in that financial calculation, 1 year of excess capacity cancels the payment, the liabilities of abrogation.
Boakye Ejiako also accused the NDC government of not doing enough due diligence before procuring the plants.
Former profession teaches me that it is your responsibility as government to do a thorough due diligence in terms of, one, your counterparty's ability to stand up and satisfy the representations and warranties they make. It is your responsibility to investigate that matter. As far as I'm concerned, I do not think or have anything to the contrary that a thorough due diligence was done on the Ameri Group itself to estimate their expertise, to estimate their ability to deliver and stand up to the reps and warranties and the covenants that they made. The due diligence that I am aware of was not done on Ameri. It was rather done on APR. And so once APR stepped out of the equation, it was incumbent upon government to go back and do full due diligence.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament on Tuesday chided MPs for not showing up in good time for deliberations on the floor. This was after he met only 7 of the 275 MPs in the chamber at the time proceedings were to begin. Adum News' Abednego Asante reports there were only 4 MPs on the majority side, including the majority leader and 3 members of the minority. As a result, business of the day did not commence on time because there wasn't the required 1/3 of the MPs to form a quorum for deliberations to begin. Professor Michael Quay reminded the legislators that they were being paid by the taxpayers to do a job and charged leaders of both sides to ensure their members are always punctual.
Honorable, I thought we would now be thinking of how best we can think about our being punctual. Our people who pay us expect that work should be done. So let us at least take the opportunity to see how we can contain the situation, ameliorate the problem, rather than taking advantage of it and going home. We have a pre-sitting meeting where we all meet at a certain point. Therefore, at least, That's where we should have met and we'll have known. I would expect leaders to be at the appropriate place, which they know so well of, at 9:30. Now that the decision has been taken, that we start sitting at 10.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin, the National Youth Authority Board is condemning recent attacks by NPP supporters and says they should rather position themselves to take advantage of the policies to be rolled out by President Akufo-Addo. Stay tuned. We'll be back with that and more. The Chief Executive of the National Youth Authority, Emmanuel Asigre, has condemned recent attacks by some NPP supporters on government offices in parts of the country. In one such incident on Monday, the YEA office at Karaga in the northern region was attacked. Mr. Asigre, however, says instead of engaging in such acts of vigilantism, those involved should take advantage of the numerous policies President Akufo-Addo is rolling out to improve the lives of the youth, adding that some modules under the Youth Employment Agency will be taking off soon. He also urged law enforcement agencies to take action instead of sitting on the fence and accusing politicians of interference.
Urge the young people causing disturbances and public tension at Youth Employment Agency offices, school feeding facilities, NADMO and District Assembly offices to read the game instead of invading the pitch. Seize the moment instead of seizing office keys and unlock their potential instead of locking padlocks. Again, we at NYA want to use this opportunity to call on those who should help stop this menace, especially the Ghana Police Service, led by David Asante-Pietu. The president has indicated this, his officials have indicated this, even party officials have indicated that we do not subscribe to what these are young folks, whether they are MPP related or not. Once they are Ghanaian young folks, we do not subscribe to the trend or the direction they've taken, and we are calling on the IGP that he must show direction, that what is going on is not proper for the development of this country. Check the records and compare what President Akufo-Addo is doing with regards to this situation. I think that we should all hold the police accountable for this. I listened to the police PRO, the Director General of the police PRO this morning, and I thought that this type of trying to find an excuse would not wash. If any of the police officers, district officers, regional officers, national directors or whatever, feel that there is anybody belonging to any political group, especially we in the ruling class, are coming to speak for any of these people, they should name the person. Because we in this government are ready to take our own on. So we want the police to take up the responsibility, than mentioning that it is we, the politicians, who are giving cover for people to do these things. We won't do that and come and sit here again and speak to the whole nation or the whole world on issues like this.
Meanwhile, the Brong Ahafo Regional Police Commander DCOP Kwame Techipoku has described media reports of a takeover of the Techiman Municipal NADMO office as a mischievous attempt by someone to create fear and panic within the municipality. In an interview with Joy News Tuesday, the police chief, who traveled on a fact-finding mission to the area, stated that thorough investigations will be conducted to ascertain the persons who put out what he described as the false claims.
Been here in Techiman since morning on a fact-finding mission to ascertain the truth or otherwise of a news item that had gone viral on the social media, that the municipal NADMO office had been taken over by people suspected to be members of the invisible forces. At the Techiman police station, I learned that no such report had been made to the police, and that all the action that the police had taken so far was based on media reports. At the Municipal Assembly, I met the Municipal NADMO coordinator, one Mr. Jibril Kessie, who told me that he was in Kumasi when a member of staff called to inform him that 4 people suspected to be members of Invisible Forces had come to the office to sack them, an allegation which had turned out to be false. I visited the NADMO office and the staff were working normally. No room had been locked. All the equipment, computers and everything were there. So my brother, I think that the news item was put out there by somebody who was only trying to be mischievous. There's nothing of the sort.
Is this the end of it, or the police?
No, that is not the end. That is not the end of it at all. We are going to conduct thorough investigation to find out who might have, come out with that false news item that caused fear and panic in the municipality. And whoever is found to be behind it will be arrested and made to face the full rigors of the law.
Municipal Coordinator for NADMO, Jibril Kessie, who was out of town when the alleged incident happened, described the media report as unfortunate. As at 9:50 a.m. Tuesday, when the fact-finding team visited the assembly, the office was opened and all staff were present and going about their normal duties.
Honestly speaking, no one has come here to issue any threat to me.
That's never happened?
No, no one has come here to issue any threat to me as the municipal director.
So were you not surprised when your subordinates told you this is what happened in your absence?
I was very surprised, Savit. You see, I was surprised in the sense that I don't expect anybody to come here and attack, because I relate very well to people. I work very hard. I believe strongly that my relations with people will not even call anyone to come here and do anything. And again, here is a public office. I don't understand why anybody should even come here and attack anybody.
Finally, how would you describe what your subordinates did yesterday?
But yesterday, what I can say simply is that the situation was not managed properly. That's what I say. Because if your immediate superior is absent, it's not away, and then something even happens, you don't need to go into the what they call social media and put the information there for FM stations to be calling me and then asking me a lot of questions. You understand that? Because what really happened, if you look at all the FM stations that call me, they call me on the basis of information that was on social media. So that was most unfortunate, and I advise that next time my subordinates should not do that, because if anything happens and you being reported to me, I also have immediate superiors. For example, yesterday what they reported to me, I reported to the MC, and I believe in the capacity and capability of the administrative executive.
Right, so those interviews were conducted by our correspondent Anasa Beat, who is in the area. Now, he also reported yesterday, or he also reported on Monday about the attacks on the offices of NADMO, and he joins us on the line right now to bring some clarity to this. Now, and as essentially the people you just interviewed, the police commander, they're saying that the reports that we put out yesterday or on Monday about the attack are untrue, but these are reports that you got from staff of NADMO, the offices that were attacked. How are they reacting to all of? Did you actually put it to them that these are reports we got from their staff?
Yes, I did. In fact, yesterday, as at the time I got to the office, the NADMO coordinator, whom we just heard speaking, was out of town. he was in Kumasi by then, and I had the opportunity to speak to one Mr. Stephen Mensah. His position is the Assistant Disaster Management Control Officer there, and he disclosed to me that the men came over to meet him. But later, when I went back to the office, the NADMO office, together with Mr. Mensah, we found the office opened, contrary to earlier report that was already put in on social media and then on other media platforms. So that was when I asked Mr. Mensah, how come the office was open? So he was also quite shocked about how the situation we found the office in, except that we met the absence of some computers, or let me say a computer, together with some files and documents, and then some drawers at the desk of the NADMO coordinator. So Mr. Stephen Mensah then told me that he believed the alleged invisible forces who came around took away those items, not knowing that a staff within the NADMO unit in Techiman here moved those items into the general office of NADMO. They have two chambers there, the outer office and then the general office, which was locked as at the time I got there. So that was exactly what I reported yesterday. I met the office opened, but we met the absence of those items. Not only this morning, we had a confirmation that those items were never taken away. They were rather moved into the general office by staff of the NADMO here to ensure that they were safe. So that was exactly what happened. And as you heard the coordinator speak to me, he established that there was nothing like that. There has never been any attack, even though that was what his staff are telling us. So we understand there's some mischief somewhere we don't know, because right after the incident happened, my check with the police established that there have been no formal complaints to the police, yet they put the info on the social media, and that's how come it attracted national attention.
All right, thank you very much, Anas Sabit, bringing us that update there. In other news, 4 persons have been arrested by the police in Kumasi for illegally dealing in weapons and ammunition. The 2 groups of suspects were arrested in separate incidents on the Kumasi-Obuasi Highway and a hideout at Numaso. Police say the first group were found to be selling ammunition, whilst the second involving blacksmiths arrested by the Regional Anti-Armed Robbery Squad for manufacturing locally made firearms for sale. Regional Police Public Relations Officer ASP Juliana Obeng addressed the media.
21st of October 2017 at about 1 p.m. a police patrol team from the Ashanti Regional Highway Patrol Unit on their usual patrols along the Kumasi-Obuasi Highway intercepted a private Toyota Corolla saloon car with registration number AS1108-17. A search conducted in the car revealed a white fertilizer sack containing an AK-47 assault rifle and 56 rounds of live ammunition plus 2 empty magazines. 2 persons, the driver and 1 other occupant on board the Toyota saloon car, namely Ibrahim Owusu Sechwe, 37 years, and Abubakar Mahama, 40 years respectively, were immediately arrested to assist in investigation. During interrogation, suspect Abubakar Mahama claimed ownership of the weapon and ammunition and mentioned suspect Amadou Yakubu, who is 51 years and an Ivorian, as the source of the weapon and ammunition. He, however, indicated to police that he collected the weapon from one Amadou Yakubu from Nyamransa, which is near Cape Coast in the central region, to be sold here in Kumasi for a fee. That on Sunday, the 29th of October 2017 at about 1:30 p.m., suspect Amadou Yakubu, who had traveled to Kumasi to collect the proceeds from the sale of the weapon and ammunition, was subsequently arrested by the police to assist in investigations. Suspect Abubakar Mahama, after his arrest, also offered a bribe of 3,500 Ghana cedis to the police in order to be let off the hook, but the police declined. Both suspects, Abubakar Mahama and Amadou Yakubu, are all in police custody, assisting in investigations, and will be put before court for prosecution after investigations are over.
The ASP are being urged the public to furnish the police with information on criminal activities in their communities.
Policing now, as it is no more our business as policemen and women. It's a business of everybody, and that's why we advise that wherever you stay, you serve as our eyes, you serve as our ears. So it's important that even in your locality where you stay, you would be vigilant yourself and then give police information, because that's what we basically live on as it is. If you don't give us information, it's difficult for us to move everywhere, because we can't be everywhere all the time. So getting into the facilities or getting into Christmas, we advise that, well, we do not engage ourselves in some of these things, because as we all know, it's criminal. But then again, as I have said, it's important that you help the police to help you.
All right, we're taking a break on Joy News Prime right now to bring you business news. And in business, the Agric Minister is hinting of lifting the ban on vegetable exports into the EU later in November. Emmanuel Abajuyafi will bring you the business news. Please stay tuned.
Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to business. Now, Minister for Agric, Dr. Owusu Efiri-Akoto, says government will announce a date the ban on export of vegetables to the European market would be lifted come this November. This follows a review by a delegation from the EU last September. The minister made this known in an interview at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank Business Breakfast meeting, which opened in Accra on Tuesday.
Yeah, we are encouraging the farmers. You know, we have a financial arrangement with them by telling them that they can take away the seeds and the fertilizers at half price and come and pay the difference after the harvest. It means that we put some trust in the farmers. And the beneficiaries are seeing the effect in terms of the high yields that they are producing their crops at. It means that efficiency has gone up, and that should be enough incentive for them to be able to pay the difference so that they can benefit again next year from the same scheme.
Planting for food and jobs, how far are we set? Is it in progress? Is it in motion?
Of course, it is in progress. It is in progress, and the results are being showing are very, very, very impressive, especially if you go to Upper West, Upper East, Northern regions. I mean, they are the ones who actually took the program to heart in spite of the lateness of its coming and so on. They are 2 months, you know. They started planting in June, while their counterparts in the forest areas started theirs in April. So you say that they had a handicap. They took full advantage of it, and you can see driving from Tamale to Salaga, from Bolga to Tamale, and all that. That is on the roadside. The evidence is very clear. It's been a big crop, and we are preparing to receive this crop, ensuring that the crop has a zero tolerance for any losses at the farm gate.
Minister, during that discussion, one thing that also came up was that government should concentrate on the policy formulation and allow private sector to do the groundwork. Yeah. What has been done in this direction to ensure that?
But that's a philosophy of the NPP government. I mean, our party was formed in 1947, and it was a right of center party then, and up to today, we believe the private sector are the engines of growth. They are the ones to deliver. Government is there to regulate and provide the environment for a private sector to deliver, and that's exactly what is happening with our...
You spoke about the vegetable issue, and the economists will always say all other things being equal. Are we going to see the ban possibly being lifted by the close of this year?
Oh, definitely. No, maybe in the next 1 month it will be. They've indicated to us unofficially that everything is okay now. We put in so much effort in the 9 months to correct all those things that were really hampering the progress in the lifting of the ban. We put reforms in place, we've changed personnel, we've infused new qualified personnel into the system at the ports and in the country, around the country. So now we are confident that we have a sustainable system to ensure good quality products to the European market.
And for you, what would this mean, getting back the recognition?
Yes.
What would that mean to us?
It's not the recognition, it's the economic impact. You know, with the stop tax, when those items we're doing about $18 million a year. if 2 years from now they are lifting the ban, we are hoping quickly to go to 80 million and take the vegetable subsector up to new levels for it to make its contribution to the economy of this country.
We talked about the Marshall Plan, and we understand how agriculture will make a significant role or will take the lead role in next year's budget. How far have we come with these policies, and how will they be implemented?
Oh, there's a workshop coming where all stakeholders are going to be invited in the next 10 days to come together to give their views, their input into the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan is going to be a big infusion of capital into the sector.
Now, later on, George Wiafe also engaged other speakers at a GRIC meeting on their assessment of the meeting.
We may not be able to address all the issues, but I believe strongly that the general policies, the general policy areas have been addressed. We now need to look at the nitty-gritties of them. It's not just enough to say we have got a good policy. It's not just enough to say that we have raised the important issues. What is critical is to ensure that those important policies are actually implemented. And some of them may take quite a while to be realized. And we have to also appreciate that there's a gestation period for every implementation that we are going to do at all. And we need to actually gauge that one properly so that we don't understate it. That, of course, we are going to use, say, 3 months, when in actual fact, the gestation period will take us 1 year. So, and that requires thinking, critical thinking. And that is what this particular forum has begun. And we should continue with that. Because the exclusiveness attitude, where it is like it's the preserve of one particular institution to do that, I mean, to determine policies, should not be there.
The fact of the matter is that the start of any progress in whatever sector, and not only agriculture, must start by talking. Because you have to talk by disaggregating the issues before you can go to the field to even try to implement. And I think that one of the sectors that has not had enough talk, such as we've had, is the agricultural sector. Most of what happens in the media, for instance, about agriculture, have mainly been negative stories. Forums such as this one will make the stakeholders come with what effort they are making to get the sector to thrive. And I think that we should even have more of this type of things. And I would like to re-emphasize that everything has got to start by talking. Not just talking, but quality discussion of issues that are currently ongoing, and then issues that we want to move into the future with.
In other business news updates, local financial services provider Bayport Financial Services has merged with CFC Savings and Loans to operate now as Bayport Savings and Loans PLC. This is to enable the newly formed company to provide better services to their customers. Managing Director of the company, Kofi Edu-Mensah, confirmed they have final approval from the Bank of Ghana.
Two businesses began 18 months ago when the shareholders of both businesses decided that combining the resources of Bayport and CFC would enable us to better serve our customers. The two merged companies have the same majority shareholder, Bayport Management Limited, based in Mauritius, and both have been competing against each other by offering largely similar products to the same target market. Having gone through all the necessary stages and processes typical of a merger of this nature, we have finally received Bank of Ghana's approval to consummate the merger. The approval was followed by a final license authorizing us to operate as a savings and loans company. Your new Bayport Savings and Loans Limited is in a better position to offer you more products and services beyond our traditional payroll loan products that the Ghanaian public sector worker has become so familiar with. We assure you that we will maintain and seek to better our delivery speed, convenience, and quality of service our cherished customers have enjoyed over the last 15 years. We have created a business that now has 52 branches across the nation. We have branches in every region of Ghana, including cities, towns, and rural communities where traditional banking services may not be easily accessible.
Our government has been detailing how it intends to prevent the energy sector from being saddled with huge debts again. This was after it raised part of the 6 billion cedis targeted in 2 separate bonds. George Wiafe has more in the following Business Desk report.
These measures were contained in documents sent to investors ahead of the energy bond sale. Some of the programs could be fully implemented before the close of this year. These include installing prepaid meters at all the ministries, departments and agencies by the close of this year. This will deal with the challenges where most of these agencies fail to pay their bills, resulting in huge debts over a period. It has also promised to push for the enforcement or implementation of the automatic adjustment formula for utility tariffs every quarter. They also plans to fully remove subsidies on petroleum products and even electricity consumption. The Ministry of Finance will now have to have the final say or approval for any new borrowings for the energy sector. They are also rolling out a new system for billing and metering for water and electricity consumers. It is also working to implement a new tariff and revenue allocation and distribution for all the utility players. All these measures which are currently being worked on by government will help open a fresh page when it comes to the finances of players in the energy sector. These sector debts are currently pegged at almost 10 billion Ghana cedis. These debts came about as a result of delays in subsidy payments and utility debts of some of the government agencies.
Business Tonight. Thanks so much for watching. For more business news updates, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Wiafe. Good evening.
"25 Togolese nationals standing trial before an Accra Circuit Court for staging an unlawful demonstration have been granted bail to the tune of 10,000 cedis, with each required to provide one surety. They were picked up at the Kalkudi Park by officers of the Accra Region Command while staging a demonstration against the Togolese President Fonya Singbe. It forms part of a series of actions by dissatisfied Togolese to press home their demand for constitutional reforms in that country. The illegal demonstrators were on Tuesday slapped with 3 charges for breaching various aspects of the Public Order Act. There's more on the story in the following report.
All 26 Togolese have been slapped with 3 charges: conspiracy to commit crime, to wit failure to inform police of an event, failure to notify police, and offensive conduct. The plea of 25 were taken with that of another agent because he's a minor. All 25 pleaded not guilty to the 3 charges. Lawyer for the Togolese, Godwin Tamaklo, then made an application for bail. He told the court his clients were willing to appear and cooperate in the trial. This was opposed by state prosecutors, raising concerns about their inability to identify residents of the accused persons. Justice Priscilla Dapamreku granted all 25 bail to the tune of 10,000 cedis with one surety. Hearing of the matter continues on November 13.
Cocoa articulated drivers in the Western region have issued a 1-week ultimatum to Cocoa Board and the government to ensure more than 500 trucks at the commodity village are offloaded. The drivers say they have been compelled to spend weeks at the commodity village under inhumane conditions. The drivers are drawn from the produce buying companies Yonkopa and Olam. They are threatening a massive demonstration on Monday, following which no truck will be allowed to offload the cocoa beans.
Yedi cocoa na besi ha womunyi cocoa no ye nima de kudientia ema omunyi cocoa no obia nso ni ho a obaba be ka.
We have been here for the past 2 weeks, but we have still not been able to offload the cocoa beans. No one has given us any reason for the delay. We are giving those responsible a 1-week ultimatum to offload the goods, else we will take action.
Ye nim de entia koko no da sugu ka num sa eti ye ma no na wotwe se ya anti bibia amfa ho a ene ye beti atua
damo no besi
ne etosu biem ensu a ye de bedware wa hakura
asem
Also, we live under terrible conditions here. There's no water or place of convenience. We want government to instruct those responsible to fix the problem.
Now on pressure sa nipa no no omehwe ha wonye dey.
Now, Western Region correspondent Francis Waja joins me on the phone with details. Now, Francis, you have visited the commodity village. How terrible is the conditions under which these truck drivers say and the assistants say they live?
Okay, so Israel, to begin with, let's first of all look at the conditions under which these drivers are at the commodities village. Now, because the place itself is supposed to be a temporary place, it's not meant for residential facilities. They're supposed to come in as a driver, offload the cocoa beans, the cocoa board, who have that facility, and then leave. So as a result of that, there are no conditions at all for settlement, where there are no washrooms, there is no place of convenience, if I should say, nowhere to take their bath. So what is happening right now is that because they've kept long at the facility, they are really inconvenienced as a result. That is one. Again, the road leading to the facility, the community village, is very bad, they say. I have visited there, indeed, I saw it myself. They really struggle from the main road to get their trucks to this commodity village. Again, we are talking about more than 600 drivers plus their assistants, so the number runs into thousands. Now, the issues are two major ones, aside these minor ones that I've mentioned. The first one is the fact that it is taking them too long for their cocoa beans to be offloaded. Usually, it's 2 or 3 days maximum. But since the village, more than 2 years have been offloaded. Number two, they claim that bonuses are supposed to be paid are not paid. Now, they use the 2014-2015 cocoa price, for instance, to justify that at the time, government was paying 404 cedis per cocoa bag. Meanwhile, the bag was being sold at 350. So if you do the calculation, there's an extra 54 cedis. Now, this 54 cedis is supposed to take care of the driver who is the cocoa beans from the farm to the village. Is supposed to take care of any other extra cost. Now, the driver said that their bonus, which is on this amount per cocoa bag, is not being paid to them. Now, the long and short of their story is that they've given government 1 week to resolve issues. Although these bonuses that claim are supposed to be paid by their private companies before, the argument they are told is that over the years, these private companies have cheated them, they've victimized them anytime they've made an attempt to raise the issues. And so this time they want government to come in, and within 1 week, if they do not hear from the government, they will not allow anyone to offload these cocoa beans from the articulated tracks, and any attempt to compel them to do that, or any attempt to offload these beans from the tracks, will cause mayhem. And so this ultimatum was issued yesterday, and we are counting. As of today, I visited there, and nothing has changed, and they tell me that they still hold on by the threat of that 1 week ultimatum, Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Francis Waja, with that update there. Elsewhere, about 2,000 workers at Ashaiman Timber Market are likely to lose their jobs over plans to construct rail lines from Tema to Akosombo. Over 30 shops containing equipment have been earmarked for demolition to pave way for the railway. The workers seen in red armband say the Tema Development Company Limited is taking a portion of the land without due consultation.
Chairman of the Ashaiman Wood Dealers Association, Anthony Pate Asari, says TDC allocated 8.52 acres of land to them in 1990. The wood dealers have since been paying for the occupancy but feel shortchanged by TDC due to the construction of the rail lines. They say their initial 8.52 acres of land have now been reduced to 8.05 acres. They are therefore calling on government and other stakeholders to dialogue over the New Development. They have threatened to take their own action within 10 days if stakeholders fail to act.
When this project starts coming, we couldn't hear anything from anybody. We had no letter, we have not been consulted in any way. No stakeholder meeting, nothing has happened. So we saw people roaming the market as surveyors, so we personally wrote to TDC to petition them that we are seeing something we are not comfortable with. So you should come and demarcate our land for us, whether we have done something wrong. We did that in August. And last week, TDC brought us a new site plan, which is measuring that our land is 8.05 hectares, which means acres, which means they have taken about half of an acre from our land, which is affecting our machine shop area in the market. And when that thing leaves the place, we are all going to lose our jobs. If you look behind you, the woods you see here, they all go through processing before we sell them. That's why we are red bands.
Assistant Secretary of Ashaiman Wood Dealers Association, Delali Ameho, says they are not against the rail project.
We want it to be established that we are never against the construction of a railway. The railway, we all know, is of national importance. We all need it. So we will never stand against the construction of the railway. Okay? It will serve the benefit of all Ghanaians. But what we are stating and insisting is that this place was demarcated by TDC. When the walls were being constructed, the railway was there. And as we speak now, the position of the railway is still there. What is happening is that the initial marking of 50 feet from the railway line has been increased to 100 feet. Okay? That is affecting our machine shops. So please, TDC should come down and tell us why they reduce our acreage from 8.52 acres to 8.05 acres. A petition we wrote to them since August 2nd this year. They only reported or replied to us just last week.
However, TDC's reply to a petition by the wood dealers indicates that their claim have no merit. Kwame Anke's report for Joy News.
Now, First Deputy Speaker Joe Sewusu is preaching attitudinal change. The cases of defilement and other sexual offences are to be curbed. The Member of Parliament for Bekwai was reacting to a statement on the floor of Parliament on sexual assault trend in Ghana by his colleague from Assin South, Reverend John Ntim Fojo. The Assin South MP explained to Joy News after delivering his statement that traditional authorities and religious leaders must not obstruct justice, especially in matters relating to sexual offences.
As for those
over the years, between the year 2010 and 2014, there were 5,752 cases of defilement and rape that were reported. But according to Ghana Living Standards Survey 6, published in 2014, they posit that 93% of defilement and rape cases often go unreported. So if that assertion is something to go by, then the 5,752 defilement and rape cases that were reported within the period represent just a tip of the iceberg, and that calls for concern. And in recent times, in the past few weeks, the prevalence that have been exposed in Assin South, just as occurs in many other locations and areas in Ghana, has created the awareness and heightened the urgency and the need why, as a collective, we need to collaborate efforts to root out the menace of sexual assault from our society, not tomorrow, but today. We cannot defer the fight till tomorrow. And transparency is very key for us to win this fight. We need a transparent system. And that is where I commend the media for particularly exposing these acts that have been going on unreported in many other locations in Ghana and bringing to limelight the urgency and the need for us as a country to take urgent steps in addressing this menace. Many cases may have gone, many cases may have gone, uncovered, and it is important that with the support of the media, we expose all such cases and ensure that justice is served. And that will signal strong deterrence to potential perpetrators and will heighten the awareness that defilement, rape are matters of criminality. That is a crime to rape someone, that is a crime to defile someone, and when that awareness is heightened, I believe that the traditional leaders, heads of family, leaders of various houses of faith would also have to refrain from the culture of obstructing justice, particularly in sexual harassment cases. And that will be a culture that should be a thing of the past for us all to collaborate in ensuring that justice is served and even preventive measures are put in place in educating our people to appreciate that sexual harassment is a crime.
The First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Owusu, on his part, said not much will happen unless people change their ways.
As for those international conventions and things, I have my own problems with the way sometimes we define these things, because our own attitudes must change to make it useful to us, and nobody can do that except us. This morning I had a long discussion with some NGO group while on my way to office. They think that the challenge is us. They have actually said they are petitioning Mr. Speaker, they are petitioning you to see how Parliament and the other institutions can work together to make the laws work. So my view is that nothing is missing except our own attitude. But probably we must focus on changing our attitudes and our mindset to ensure that people who are responsible for enforcing the laws do take them seriously and make the laws work for the society. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, child rights activists are making a strong case for an amendment of the law that permits teenagers to consent to sex at the age of 16. It follows a massive campaign on social media by feminists and gender advocates pushing for a policy change that protects the rights of children, especially girls. The campaign comes on the back of the alleged defilement of a 4-year-old girl at Asing Adadientem in the Central Region. Speaking at a consultative meeting on the review of the Children's Act, legal consultant Sheila Minka Premo stated that the need to increase the age of consensual sex from 16 to 18. Gender Minister Tiku Jaba, who was also at the event, proposed the establishment of a children's rights club in schools nationwide to help promote awareness across the country and make the children more assertive. Beryl Ernestina Richter has more.
The issue of children's rights and the debate of punishment meted to offenders is one that has generated public discussion in recent times. Gender Minister Madame Otiko Jaba decried the lack of enforcement of laws that protect the rights of children. According to her, despite the fact that Ghana prides itself as being the first country to ratify the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, more needs to be done in awareness creation of the rights of children.
It's not enough to sign on to all these protocols or to ratify them, but it is how they are meaningfully translated into the development of our children. That is what we are going to be talking about here. And we must involve them in decision making from the beginning about any decision that affects them. So we would be including the formation of children's rights clubs. We are sending a policy paper to Cabinet to entreat Cabinet to agree that every school must have a children's rights club.
Legal consultant Sheila Minka Premo, who also spoke at the event, stressed on the need to put in place policies to make birth registration compulsory nationwide. She believes this can be achieved by strengthening the birth and death registry and taking another look at the age of sexual consent.
Children are becoming more alert. You know, we all know that during the adolescence, you know, all the all kinds of things that happen to the body, etc., etc. So fixing the age of consent to sex at 16, it used to be 14, and then the law was amended somewhere in the 90s to make it 16, and then the age of marriage is 18. Personally, I think that the laws as they stand are okay, but speaking as a moral being, I would say that if it's at par with the age of marriage. And with regard to the age of marriage, you cannot change it because the UN has seen that 18, that's the time that the body is well suited to have children, etc., etc. So that's the most ideal.
Also speaking at the event was Justice at the Supreme Court, Her Ladyship Mrs. Justice Sophia Adinyira, who also noted the lack of enforcement and application of the existing laws on children's rights and called for thorough research on the formulation of laws regarding surrogacy.
On surrogate, I will say we have to do a thorough research into it first before embarking on legislation, because in the US and UK, those European countries who have been practicing it before we have started here, so it is still a legal battle always over there.
Contributing to the discussion, a development worker, Susan Saba, with the Child Rights Research Center, bemoaned the lack of neglect of duties on the part of parents.
When you look at the records over the years, ever since DOPSU came into being, non-protection of children has been escalating, growing exponentially every year to date. And it is the foundation of many of the problems that we see in this country. On reintegrating juvenile offenders who have been released back into society, it's so disheartening to see a young boy who has come out from correctional center so ready and willing to change and reform, but parents blatantly refusing to accept the child.
The forum is seeking to strengthen Ghana's child protection system. The forum is seeking to strengthen Ghana's child protection system.
Forgive me. Edmond Amakwe Foley.
The Wa Circuit Court has adjourned the case of the former head teacher of the PM Basic School, Yuga Mumuni, for allegedly filing a 10-year-old primary 3 pupil. Yuga Mumuni, who is now been transferred to the Tumu United Basic Primary School, is alleged to have had carnal knowledge of the 10-year-old primary 3 pupil in his office and on a table before giving the victim 20 Ghana cedis. On Monday, he was in court to give evidence in chief about the incident and also be cross-examined by the lawyer of the accused person. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam sat through the in-camera proceedings at the Wa Circuit Court and filed this report.
The second witness in the alleged defilement case of a 10-year-old former primary 3 pupil of PM Basic School in the Sisala East District took a turn in the Wa Circuit Court in camera. The witness, who is a former patron of PM Basic School Girls Club, told the court that she came to the school one morning in April and was informed by one of the cooks at the school about the whipping of one of the girls of the school. She inquired to know which of the girls was the victim and why she was whipped. The cook disclosed the name of the victim after further questioning. She went to the class of the victim and called her out. The victim told her that she was wrongly beaten for allegedly stealing 20 Ghana cedis. The witness asked her where she got the alleged money from. The victim told her she picked the money on the floor with a close friend. She counseled the victim before asking her to call a friend for further interrogation. It was at that moment that the victim opened up to the witness and made startling revelation that she rather had the 20 Ghana cedis from the head teacher of the school, Yuga Mumuni. She inquired further why the head teacher gave her the money. The victim told the witness that the head teacher, in this case, the accused person, called her to the office, kept her on a table, have carnal knowledge of her before giving her the 20 Ghana cedis. The witness told the court that she invited a colleague female teacher to come and listen to the victim. In the presence of the colleague teacher, the victim did not mince words, according to the witness, as he repeated same words. Lawyer for the accused person, Luwanga Bagoluru, cross-examining the witness, suggested to her that the victim was not truthful and that the accused person never and did not have carnal knowledge of her. The witness responded saying she was not in the office and was only relaying what the victim told her. Mr. Bogoluru further suggested to the witness that on April 11, 2017, she went into the office of the accused person to apologize for lying against him. In her response, she told the court she apologized to the accused person because of the perception that she may have something against him, and that is why she is concocting lies against him and not because of what the victim said was a lie. Hearing of the case was adjourned to November 13, 2017 to enable the prosecution call 2 other witnesses. The accused person, however, is still on his former bail. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The acting chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party has dismissed calls for the dismissal of Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George A.C. Boateng. Mr. A.C. Boateng has come under fire for saying in a meeting with TESCON members at the Kumasi Technical University that he would prioritize NPP members over all other Ghanaians because they are more Ghanaian than others. The chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, says Mr. A.C. Boateng's comments are not as bad as his critics would have Ghanaians believe.
Well, I have not heard it myself personally, but I believe, as you are saying, he was addressing the TESCOM members. So it is within a context, and therefore you can't pass judgment except that you've gotten the full text and the context within which he might have said so. As I said, because I have not had the full text of what he did, I don't want to pass judgment about it. But I know Mr. A.C. Boateng is a fine gentleman. Comes from Kumasi. He's been a very strong member of the party. Indeed, he is my own personal friend. And whatever he says, he would definitely be a true Ghanaian. He loves Ghanaians, he loves them together. Maybe if he's talking to his own party men, and therefore, if he had made any utterances within the context, you must understand it. But you are isolating the context and making it look like as if he, as an ambassador or high commissioner, is only going to discriminate in favor of NDC. But I don't think that's what he meant. I don't believe that's what he's...
Are you saying, Mr. Chair, that because he is speaking to members of the NPP, he can tell them that he would put their interest first before any other Ghanaian?
As I said, I don't know exactly the forum and the context. But you've mentioned TESCOM. TESCOM party people. When you're talking to party people, there are a few things that you may overboard say concerning their interests of what it means. Definitely you want their support. Definitely they might have played very serious role in bringing the party into power, and for that matter you rely on their support and so forth. And therefore you may make a few comments here and there, and those comments should not be taken in isolation and make it look like as if the person or this diplomat is only saying that if an NDC man needs help and comes to his embassy or come to his high commission, he will turn him away. I don't believe that's what...
The Eastern Region Security Council is to revive the Operation Cow Leg in the Kwewu-Dribiase area of the Eastern Region to flush out nomadic herdsmen in the area. The Operation Cow Leg is an operation embarked upon by the security agencies to eliminate cows destroying properties. At a news briefing addressed by the chairman of the Eastern Region Security Council, Eric Kwachi Dafor Resek, says it will further meet the affected communities and find solutions to their problems.
Addressing the media, RECSEC chairman Eric Kwachi Dafor urged the district assemblies to enact bylaws to deal with the herdsmen menace to avoid spillovers to other areas. A number of people were killed over the weekend at Kwewu-Dribiase in the Eastern Region when some herdsmen clashed with natives of the Dribiase community.
The Nkokwa Divisional Police, under the directives of the Regional Police Commander, immediately organized a stakeholders meeting with chiefs, leadership of the Fulanis in the Kwewu area, and other opinion leaders in attendance. The stakeholder meeting was for the police to, one, understand the issues that were causing the frequent deaths in the area. And two, to seek the support of the stakeholders in resolving the problems. The major decision arrived at during that meeting was for all, and especially the police, to take immediate action to stop the killings in the area. This decision was quickly relayed to the police headquarters in Accra, and as a matter of urgency, a total of 85 police personnel, accompanied by the Commissioner of Police in charge of operations, COP Galbari, were dispatched to the area on the 28th of October 2017. The commissioners of the regional command toured the affected areas and immediately deployed the personnel to the various localities to maintain peace and order. Currently, the situation is improving, and schools which were hitherto closed down for fear of attacks are being reopened.
Regional Police Commander DCOP Simon Afeku said the police is dealing with such clashes as criminal cases. He urged all to exercise restraint and abide by the laws of the land.
We should not take the law into our hands. Otherwise, we go worsening the situation. So I want this appeal to go out to the general public. And again, we have deployed in the place to protect every life and property within that enclave. We shall continue re-strategizing to revise whatever deployment that we have put in place to make sure there are no gaps left. But we will continue to appeal to the public to support the security in this first line of action by way of information, of course, to be able to bring the perpetrators of these crimes and call it a crime, because nobody has the right to take the life of the other.
Chief Director of the Eastern Regional Coordinating Council, SK Sambu, said RECSEC has received and is considering a proposal from the Kulmahene on dealing with the herdsmen menace in the area. Maxwell Kudekos report.